So hi guys, this is Chetan Pudar back again, and today I am going to talk to you about Cafe Coffee Day. So there are a lot of people who have written to me about Cafe Coffee Day, and especially after the incident of the promoter, a lot of people have asked me about Cafe Coffee Day. So everybody out there in the world is basically giving expert opinion about. What Cafe Coffee Day is, what is happening with Cafe Coffee Day, what happened with the promoter, and what is in the background and all that, right? And everybody is talking about what went wrong with the company, what went wrong with the person, what went. I do. So there are a lot of news coming in that counters, right? But this video is going to be slightly different, and why it is different, because I am not really here to explain to you what happened, why it happened, because one, there is enough things in the news about it. Two, how much authenticity there is in that news about that person is anybody's guess, because everybody does not know everything about what happened, right? Because if they knew, then probably that situation would not arise in the first place. Listen to what I'm saying very carefully, right? So there was a lot of things which were happening in the background. A lot of things are still happening in the background. There are some reasons which most people haven't found out about Cafe Coffee Day. There are a lot of news probably which will come out from Cafe Coffee Day's counter. Okay, but the news which has come out is that he committed suicide, and the reason why he committed suicide is because maybe there was an issue with some guy chasing him from the IT department. Probably he said that he took too much loan, or it could also be there are rumors to say that maybe there were some practices which were not supposed to be taking place which happened. So you really don't know, and I'm not going to comment on it because every piece of that information is just a part piece. But what I am going to directly focus on, which is the most important point, is that if you have the stock of Cafe Coffee Day, or if you are interested in buying the stock of Cafe Coffee Day, then what is the scenario? So I'm really not thinking and going to talk to you about the past. I'm going to talk to you about what is to be done, which probably most people are not going to be able to tell you, right? So let's say, so two scenarios. Scenario number one, hence a lot of people have written to me saying that we have the stock of Cafe Coffee Day, so what is to be done right now? So I'm directly going to go over to the charts, because charts tell you everything, and let's have a look at what the chart has to. So this is a chart of Cafe Coffee Day, and the listing of Cafe Coffee Day happened somewhere on 2nd November 2015. I think this is what the date has been shown. Yeah, so 2nd November 2015, and the listing price was at about 316. I'm going to look down at my screen because that's where my laptop is, so you guys can also follow that what you see on the video on the chart. So 2015 is where the listing happened, and then it kind of came down, and then it has been going sideways. So if you really purely look at it from price action point of view, and purely look at it from the way the price has been factoring all the information, the known information, the unknown information, the known news, the unknown news, the background of the company, the background of the promoter, all of these things, the emotions in the market, all of these things are getting factored inside the chart. And while it is all getting factored inside the chart is giving out a certain display of patterns, right? And if you really look at it, so I'm a price reader. Most of you guys know this, that I trade price, because price is the most purest form of indicator, and there is really nothing else in the world which is more purer in trading than price. Price is probably one of the highest skills which you can acquire in the stock market. So I'm just going to record the price. So if you look at the price of Cafe Coffee Day, it very clearly shows that it has been a sideways chart. It has been a sideways chart. It has been its moments where there is a sporadic buying coming in, massive buying coming in. So which comes across to me that there have been certain influential counters which have been buying the price of the stock at a certain price to keep it afloat. There has been the right word is artificially floating of the stock above a certain price point, right? The price, if you ask me very clearly, it is a sideways motion, which basically means that because if the stock was a great stock, stock was a good stock, then it would give a trend, mostly an uptrend. If it was a bad stock, it would give you a downtrend, but that's not what has happened. It's just moved sideways. And if you really read the price action a little bit more in detail, then you'll also realize that there are some counters which have been made to buy the stock. So it could be a plate stock, it could be a stock which is a promoter influence stock, it could be a stock where there is a team of people who are buying the stock and keeping it afloat. So this is the story. So first of all, what I want to very categorically and specifically tell you that this was never a great stock to begin with. This was never a great stock to have on your portfolio. That's very clear. Now, if you ask me, but sir, it's a great coffee chain. Agreed. But please understand one thing very, very clearly. A great business does not necessarily mean a great stock in your portfolio. A good business does not necessarily mean, because when you are running a good business, there are a lot of components into it. But when you're buying a good stock, the sole objective of that stock is to make money for you, which means that stock has to be going up and making money. And a lot of times there is a very little correlation which happens between these two. Now, I've made a very big statement here, but you will only be able to understand if you have a little bit of knowledge about the stock market formally, and if you have put a lot of money of yours in the stock market to understand. So it will take you a little bit of experience to understand what I'm saying as a statement. But having said that, what I stick to is that it was never a great stock to begin with in the first place. So since 2015 November, it has not made any money for anyone, and which basically means that one, it has been artificially kept afloat. Second, while that happened, nobody has been able to make money. But now what do we do? So let's first establish and be very clear. So that this was never a great stock to begin with. Yeah, we all have a great emotional moments about Cafe Coffee Day. We all have used Cafe Coffee Day. He was a great entrepreneur. There's no doubt about it. He did a great job. There's no doubt about it. He's a very inspiring story. No doubt about it. But as far as somebody like me who sit down and think that I am an investor, how do I see the stock? It is never a great story play for me. But now that if you have bought Cafe Coffee Day, what is that you've got to do? So what is happening right now? So as the story broke out, what has happened is, if you actually go and see these dots, yeah, so on 29th July, the price was somewhere at 195, and after that on 30th July, the price directly came to 155, and after that price came to 123, and now the price is at 110. Today that I'm making a video is on the 1st of August, right? So on the 1st of August, the price is at 110. Now, what are these four dots mean? These three dots mean? There are three dots here, 1 dot, 2 dot, and 3 dot. It basically means that the price is hitting its lower circuits, and which means everybody out there is out to sell the stock. So normal candles which form are the candles which are like this, okay? But when the candles form like this, which are dashes, it simply means that there is only supply and there is no demand for that stock, which means everybody is trying to get out of that particular stock. It's like a sinking ship. When the ship sinks, everybody wants to jump in the water, even the rats want to desert the ship. So this is exactly what is happening. So everybody is selling. So this is probably lower circuits which has been hitting onto that stock. Now, why? For two reasons. Reason number one, that the CMD, committed suicide, and then there would be an emotional reaction. That's one part of it, but that's not how I see it. So a lot of people would say, everything is fine. It's a professionally managed company. The CMC is committed suicide. That's one part of the story. The second part of the story is something else and more sinister. A lot of people who are smart in the stock market are assuming that he committed suicide because there are a lot of things which are internal in that stock which people don't know of it as of right now. So some story, something like Wipro, maybe not Wipro, like Satyam. So not exactly Satyam, but something like that, which means there were a lot of news which were hidden, and now that he is not there anymore, these news will slowly surface. While these negative news will slowly surface, it will get discounted in the price, and people would not be interested in buying because it's a sinking ship. So probably that venture is going to get into big trouble. So everybody is selling. People are smart money is also thinking that we don't know what is the next news which is going to be coming out of this counter. So I don't want to be a part of that stock. So realistically speaking, what has happened? Everybody is selling the stock. There are only lower circuits. There is no buyers into the market. So if you have the stock, what has it got to do? You know what? I'm sorry, you got to be into a little panic situation at this point of time. You got to be worried for a simple reason that you don't know what is the negative news which is going to come out of this counter. Okay. And the story being, what you need to do is, as soon as possible, try to get out of this stock. Okay. I'm not saying that the stock might not recover. I'm not saying that the stock might go down. I'm not saying that the stock goes sideways, because really nobody knows for a fact. All I'm simply saying is that at this point of time, save your money. So if you get a chance, get that money out. Now the problem is that everybody's selling and there is no buyer. So if everybody's selling and there is no buyer, you are not going to get an exit from this stock. So if you are not going to get an exit from this stock, which means you are going to get stuck in this stock, which means there is a small gate. Okay, there are millions of people trying to get out of that gate. Okay, and you are not able to get out. So long story short, try to get out of the stock as and when you can get. Don't try to play around with your money. Don't try to bet on it, saying that everything is fine, it can go out. For all practical purposes, nothing will go wrong, but you don't want to be in that crowd and get stuck, is all I'm going to say. So in a nutshell, if I have to concisely tell you what I have to say, one, it's in a lower circuit, everybody's trying to sell, there is no buyer. So even if you want to sell, there is going to be no buyer. But having said that, continue trying to sell and get out of the stock as soon as possible. All right. So thank you guys. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening to me. I hope I have been able to deliver what I had to say to you as my opinion. If you think that you have somebody else who is a professionally qualified to give you that opinion, please take that opinion. I'm just telling you, voicing out my opinion to you. This is what I would do. And this is how would I do if I was stuck into the stock, which I'm not. All right. So thank you guys. Thank you for your time, and we'll see you sometime somewhere again. Goodbye.